Saddles are a super important and really personal part of your bike fit, to the point where many people have a specific model from a specific brand that they get on with and won't stray or try anything new. I've pretty much been like that over the past few years with the Sella Italia SLR Boost, which has been pretty much the only saddle I've managed to get comfortable on. And unfortunately, even in their basic spec, they are absolutely eye-wateringly expensive, with about the cheapest you can possibly get one £100, or for a decent carbon one, you're generally talking nearly 200 quid. Now they are extremely high quality and very lightweight, but I can't justify spending that much money for a saddle for every single one of my bikes. And I'm honestly sick of constantly swapping saddles between bikes. So I've had to have a real good look for some other saddles on the market. And of course, knowing me, I've had to turn to Aliexpress, and specifically Ryet Saddles. I'm in fact no stranger to Ryet Saddles, as I used this 3D printed one they made for quite a long time. However, one thing I didn't quite get on with the shaping is if you look at the nose, it has quite a wide nose on it, which I really don't find comfortable. I need quite a narrow nosed saddle. I've always got on with the SLR Boost so well because they make it in a very narrow model at only 130mm wide at the widest point and really narrow at the nose. But I've been trying recently another Ryet saddle, and specifically the one I've been trying is this Ryet Ultimate saddle. And if you look at its profile, the nose tapers off really nicely. Now this one specifically is in the basic low-end model with a plastic shell and steel rails, and does weigh a fair bit. But I have found it really comfortable on the rides I've done on it so far. I think something about the shaping works really well for me. But excitingly, I've now got my hands on one of their far higher end carbon fibre saddles in similar spec to this one here. And opening the box, it comes in a nice little carrying bag to protect it in shipping, and inside we have got this Ryet Ultimate saddle, which is a carbon shelled 3D printed saddle, and you can tell they've definitely advanced their 3D printing technology since this model. And look just how much narrower the nose is. I think I'm going to get on with this really well, and it's pretty light too. Specifically taking a look at the 3D printed finish then, it has different densities around the saddle, so where you're sat it is pretty firm to support you. However, in the pressure relief channel, it's super squidgy and light, so it relieves pressure well, I guess. And there's even some padding on the nose, which on this one, the nose is pretty much rock solid. Now I'm really excited to give this a go, and I'm going to be using it on my turbo sessions for the next few days to really torture test it. As on the turbo, it's pretty much the most brutal environment to properly test a saddle, because if it's comfortable on the turbo, it's going to be comfortable anytime. But yeah, it is super premium feeling, no flex in that base whatsoever, as you'd expect from a carbon saddle. It's got the nice measurement markings on the rails, something I always appreciate. It really helps you dial in your fit and make it repeatable on several different bikes. That carbon shell seems really well made, and it's really nicely bonded to the rails as well. So yeah, it seems super premium, especially given how cheap these are compared to the big name brands 3D printed saddles that at times can run over £300, which I'm sorry, is just too much to spend on a saddle. Now, if you want to try one of the Ryet saddles or any other product off AliExpress, now is a great time, as for their Christmas sale, they've given me some exclusive coupon codes to share with you guys that I'm going to leave on the screen right now and in the description below. If you want to make any purchases on the platform, there are some great savings to be had. But just note, these discounts are only valid till the end of December, so you really will have to get a move on if you want to use them. Alongside that, you can still join my cashback team with the QR code on the screen right now, or by checking the links in the description. And the more people that join, the more cashback you'll get. I really like the cashback feature, and I use it all the time when I'm shopping on AliExpress, saving me just a little bit extra cash every time I go and make a purchase. So make sure to get yourselves joined right now. Next up, because I've obviously got an unhealthy obsession with the weight of my bikes, let's see what this Ryet Ultimate saddle weighs in at. 186 grams on the dot. Now, these 3D printed saddles are never quite as light as the full carbon with a little bit of padding counterparts, but obviously you do in theory gain quite a lot of comfort from the 3D finish. And now one thing I really appreciate with this is that it is kind of covered and it's not just the pure 3D mesh, because one thing I did find when using this version in the past, 3D mesh can be quite sort of abrasive on your shorts, and I found it could be quite uncomfortable, whereas this has a nice like cover to stop that sort of direct rubbing with the 3D pattern. And for reference, this Ryet model is quite a bit lighter at only 153 grams. However, the padding, as I was saying before, is definitely nowhere near as thick. And I think the shape of this one is going to fit me far better. Now, Ryet do sell a ton of different shapes and sizes of their saddles. Quite a lot clearly inspired by some of the more well-known designs that you see out there often on Western branded saddles. But yeah, they always have their own sort of takes and finishes on the 3D printing, and I'm really impressed with the quality of this 3D printing. There really is quite a significant difference in the density. Like, it's super firm around where your sit bone's actually going to be, which is what you need. But it's really nice and squishy up front. But I can't review a saddle by just looking at it and weighing it. I'm going to throw this on the bike, hop on the turbo, and see just how it feels. In order to test this Ryet saddle, I'm going to be pulling off my obscenely expensive trusty SLR boost that I've been using for the past sort of year or so, and I'm going to throw this on instead. And yeah, I'm just going to use it for my next week's worth of turbo training and see how I get on with it. Off the bike. Ooh, it's a bit dirty. Obviously, whenever you try a new saddle, you've always got to play around a little bit with its position, because every saddle's shaped slightly different and will interact slightly different with the seat clamp, the offset on your bike, and all the rest. That's looking about the right angle on there. So let's get this tightened down nicely and give it a try. Only thing left to do now is give it a go. Oh, and one other thing I really appreciate with the design of this saddle is it's got, I don't know how well you can see this, it's got a nice grippy finish on where the rails are, just to let it not slide around with these clamps. And also to know, as it is a full carbon design, it does use ovalized rails. So if there's a few sorts of seat clamps that this may not work very well with. But yeah, time to kit up and give it a go. Oh yeah, that does feel really comfortable actually. If I survive this, then I know the saddle's for sure a good one. Right, we're now half an hour in, and so far so good. Really comfortable so far. Actually really enjoying using it. So 2 hours 47 in, and I have to say the saddle is still proper comfy. So I'm really, really impressed. I'm gonna get showered up when I've finished, and I'll talk you through it. Okay, well, I'm all showered up now after my 3-hour turbo session, and I have to say my initial impressions with the Ryet saddle were super, super positive. It was really comfortable actually, and I have to say, probably on par at least with my SLR boost. Now, whilst this is still quite considerably lighter, this is a flipping expensive saddle, and the Ryet saddle costs way less than half the price of this. I think currently that high-end model I was trying is about £70 on Aliexpress, with the cheaper steel railed model I was showing you earlier coming in at just £16. And whilst that is not a lightweight saddle, I've also found that super comfortable. Whilst riding it on a bike, you'll be finding out a little bit more about soon. And yeah, I have to say, they really have upped their game when it comes to the 3D printing since some of these earlier models. I've also tried a couple of other really cheap AliExpress 3D printed saddles, not made by Ryet, and I have to say, these new Ryet saddles have really upped the game, because yeah, this one is pretty much the same density everywhere, which is still pretty comfortable, but going for that mixed variable density padding and really comfortable, and allows you to properly rotate forward to maintain an aggressive position. I didn't really need to do that on the turbo because aerodynamics doesn't matter, but I was still testing out a few positions while I was riding, and there were no problems whatsoever there. So yeah, once again, remember to check out my cashback team and the AliExpress discount codes I've left below, and get yourself subscribed so you don't miss any of my future videos about AliExpress bike parts. Right, until the next one, I'll see you all soon.